everybody, welcome to the Midnight Barn with Zac Slusher. I am Zac Slusher, and this is my very first episode, and I've never done a video cast before. And what I'm focusing on for this is interviewing comedians, musicians, and just friends in general about how they're holding up in the pandemic of the coronavirus. Like how they're holding up, their diet, their hobby, habits, anything that entails with that. And I realize everybody's talking about the coronavirus. I mean, how can you not? It's a worldwide thing, so that's what people are doing. And I don't want to oversaturate anything, but the way I'm looking at it is everybody has their own personal story of what they're going through, what they're doing, and that's what I want to focus on here. And the reason I'm calling it the Midnight Barn is because where I'm sitting right now is a barn that used to be where our goats and pigs would sleep. But my fiance redid this whole thing, repurposed it into a really cool hangout spot. It's really awesome. She did drywall, paint, floor, framing doors, windows, all that cool stuff. And I did the heavy lifting because I'm just a dumb heavy lifting dude. But I come out here at night about twice a week, and it's kind of like getting out for me. Like, I got my TV out here, I've got my instruments, and I come out here and I Skype with people or I FaceTime with people, and it's like hanging out. Because I don't want to risk going out into the world, even though they're probably opening everything. Shit's still bad. It's still spreading, people are still dying, and I'm not going to risk it. So that's basically what the Midnight Barn is, and I'm going to show you around real quick before we get to the beginning of the first episode. All right, cool. All right, and here's what it looks like. Got the drums right here, the guitars and whatnot. Got the TV over here. We got Old Naked David. That's what I call him, Old Naked David. And one of the parts that impresses me the most about what she did here is this right here. This is a couch that she built. Wood, paint, padding, everything. I sleep out here at night when I do the Midnight Barn, when I'm just hanging out. And it's really cool. I honestly couldn't be luckier to have the family that I have during this pandemic. So there you go. I'm going to show you the outside real quick. And here's the outside. She put all those wood panels on there. She painted the side here. The back side looks about the same. So pretty cool stuff. All right, we're going to get to the very first guest here on the Midnight Barn. And he is from Austin, Texas. He is a very funny comedian, a producer, author, just all sorts of stuff. He's a very hardworking guy, and I'm talking about JT Habersaat. Hope you enjoy the first episode. We'll get it started. Let me drink some more.
Take your time. It's the biggest fucking.
Goat. My goat's castrated, so I don't even know how I got this goat.
There you
go. Hey everybody, welcome to the Midnight Barn with Zac Slusher. I already said that in the intro, but here I am saying it again. And we're going to get to the guest I was talking about, and you're looking right at him. We have comedian, music producer. We'll get more into it. He does a bunch of shit. He's a busy motherfucker, very funny guy. Here's JT Habersaat, everybody.
Howdy. How you doing, brother?
Man, doing good. Real good. Kind of an inside joke. Right before the show, we were talking about how I was drinking goat's cum. I'm not, though. It's coffee. It's coffee. I just want to make that clear to everybody.
I was willing
even though they didn't even know it happened.
Yeah, everybody's finding out a lot of new things about themselves during this time, so I wasn't going to,
Yeah, and that's kind of like what I want part of the show to be about is, like I say in the intro, I don't want to oversaturate shit, but everybody has their own personal story for what's going on right now with the pandemic and what's going on, I guess, in shelter in place is what it's called. Jill's put me on that. I've just been calling it quarantine the whole time, like I've got a hazmat suit on.
Shelter in place sounds too wordy.
I don't like it. I immediately didn't like it.
Sounds like a press conference buzz term. I don't know. Yeah, quarantine is fine. Just get the job done.
It's more of a better visual for me. Maybe because I'm into horror movies. Like, I just see me in a hazmat suit, like, oh, hope I don't fucking die.
Yeah, it's anybody who's ever seen Alien. It's like, quarantine.
Yeah. That's by the way, Alien is one of the best movies ever created. And
absolutely solid film.
So JT, man, in this time of quarantine, I'm saying it, with the coronavirus and all this shit. First of all, tell these people, the listeners, watchers, I'm used to saying listeners, tell these people where you're located. Where are you at?
I live in Elgin, Texas, which is the sausage capital of Texas. Touche to your goats come.
Wait, what's the city called?
Elgin, Elgin,
Okay.
which on paper should read as Elgin.
Elgin,
which is down the road from Manor, Texas, which should be said as Manor, because that's how it's spelled. It's this cracker-ass Texas dialect. They pronounce things wrong. But you can yell at the wind all you want, but if you say, I'm going to Elgin, people will scream at you that it's Elgin. So whatever, I've accepted it.
People get pissed off about weird shit, man.
They do. But it's about 15 minutes from downtown Austin. And so it's just a little bit more rural. Like we have like a backyard with trees and stuff, and a lot of wilderness and stuff out here. So I grew up in upstate New York in the woods, and
oh, cool.
So definitely wanted. I love city life, but we wanted a little bit of separation from that. So
yeah, I like city life to a certain degree. I guess more of a visiting it. Like, as you know, we live out in the country, but like since you've been here last, we have people fucking building houses around us, so that kind of sucks.
Oh, that's a bummer.
But right now, it's still pretty remote. We're still in the country. You don't have to hear the city noises and all that shit. And it's kind of perfect. I mean, you said you're in the woods as well, basically.
Well, I wouldn't say woods. There's no real woods in Texas that much. Yeah. It's more like prairie, I guess you could say.
Right.
Trees.
What's your closest neighbor?
Close. We're in like a development. So the neighbors are fairly close, but it's all like behind us we have what's called greenbelt. So our backyard fence goes up against unbuildable wilderness because of floodplain. And so we have like 3 totally different dens of coyotes out here. So when fires go by, you hear like 3 different dens of coyotes howl in unison. And we have a giant fucking owl, like a 3-foot high owl that lives in our backyard. And there's
that's a big ass owl.
Yeah, my wife was jogging one night and she actually saw a mountain lion in our neighborhood. So it's still we have armadillos out here and lots of hawks and snakes and stuff. So it's definitely rural Texas. But I like I like the culture of and the nightlife of city stuff. And so I like the best of both worlds where I drive 15 minutes and then
that's a good distance too. Like everywhere that we go to is 30 minutes or more. Like we're kind of away from people. Like if traffic's not bad, then it's maybe about 20 minutes. But
yeah, I mean, if you're commuting for work, it can be a real bitch. It can be like an hour because traffic here's a nightmare. But at night when I'm going out or anything, back when life was happening, and you could, it's 20 minutes tops to get to downtown Austin. And also, being a touring comic, I need access to a legit airport, and that's also 20 minutes away. So that's
right.
So
it's good to be like in a spot where you're away from it, but it's easy to get to, I guess.
That's it. That's key. And that's also why I've been here like 15 years and why I haven't moved somewhere else. It's like a kind of a perfect setup. So
I got to use my sweat flannel real quick. This is what the viewers are here to see. So this barn that I'm in is so fucking hot.
Why did you get a window
air
air
conditioning? Ventilation going on unless I open back both doors.
Yeah.
And we don't have an air conditioning yet, so that's why I want to do it more around midnight, JT, not during the day.
Well, what are you doing Friday or Saturday night, which typically would have been bad, but since days have no meaning anymore, I'm like, I could probably do that. But I've been on this deadline for this Shining Week toys, and I knew that like last night I was going to be cranking that to the wee hours, and then today I need to get outside and not be in my toy lair. You just look like a Pearl Jam video now with that shit.
God, this sweat is even flowing out of me.
Well played. Nice.
But yeah, man. And if you don't mind sharing, who all lives with you, like people-wise and pet-wise?
Well, it's just the wife and I, as far as the quarantine lockdown here. She works remotely from home anyway, so her schedule, aside from she's heavy into, she just completed teacher training for yoga and stuff, so she's been doing that remotely, yoga. But aside from that, her schedule's been pretty unchanged. And pet-wise, we have 2 boy brother cats named Wyatt and Doc that are enormous because they're part ocelot.
Boy brother cats.
Yeah, they're part ocelot, and so they're.
What's ocelot?
Ocelot is a wild cat of Texas that is akin to like a bobcat. Hang on,
Yeah.
I have one sleeping right here that I will wake up. This is Wyatt.
You said
Like
they're half of that?
Yeah, they have ocelot blood, so they're enormous cats. Like, what the fuck? But this is Wyatt.
Yeah.
Put you back down. So they're huge. And when we first brought them here, we had a vulture in our backyard in a tree, and we let them out back. And Doc, his brother, scaled the tree like a fucking black bear and was like, "Get out of my yard!" Easy.
I almost thought you were going to go the other way and the bird tried to come get him, because that happens sometimes.
No, I was writing in my kitchen one night all hammered, and I heard this like wee, 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 happening from out back, because we let them out in the evenings out back,
Right.
And I went out, and this big motherfucker right next to me, I just showed you, had a full rabbit in his mouth, like Wild Kingdom was running around. What? Like a full rabbit. So they're big boys, and they're very alpha. Total lap cats, but they're super alpha. And we have a new 2-year-old girl cat named Patches, kind of adopted our house, and we adopted it. So it's been a lot of cat politics around here, as they're like not really into her being here.
Right.
So, and she's like the sweetest thing in the world, but also, they have like literally 7 pounds on her because she's a smaller, she's just a house cat. So
like Andre the Giant versus Shawn Michaels.
We're coming to this at some point, you fucking nerds. But,
you know what? Like, I haven't watched wrestling. I haven't watched wrestling in like quite a while. Like, I tried to watch some newer shit on Hulu, and there's just too much dumb story, blah blah whatever. I mean, wrestling is kind of dumb for the most part, but I still respect it. Yeah. Like, I was so into it in my younger days, and I respect the art of a good match and shit like that. But I just can't really watch it as much anymore. But here lately in the midnight barn, I'll come in here and like drink some beers and like smoke one and like watch some classic matches on YouTube. Like, it's kind of cool to see that old school stuff.
I mean, when I was, a child, this is derogatory shit. I when I was like 9 and 10, I loved Hulk Hogan and all that stuff. I used to watch all the classic King Kong Bundy and all that shit.
Right.
But and whatever you're into, whatever people like. But and I've done some shows with like Colt Cabana, and I have buddies who are friends with CM Punk and that kind of new breed of kind of podcast overflow, the comedy adjacent. And so I respect the hell out of those cats. But it's just not my world. It's not my thing. So I don't claim to know it.
Yeah, I totally get it, man. Yeah, and like I said, I don't watch it anymore. But like, part of this like quarantine thing is, I mean, I noticed that I'm reminiscing a lot more, because like, I guess because I'm stuck in one spot and I'm very limited to what I can do. I'm more of a homebody now, but I like to get out once or twice a week. But I don't know, it's just been going through my head thinking about all the shit I've done in the past, just like good times I've had, and like watching those wrestling matches and stuff like that. It's not even to watch it. It's like, oh, it's wrestling time. It's like, oh, I remember this. I remember when the Ultimate Warrior beat Hulk Hogan and all this shit. And then I found something on YouTube called The Dark Side of the Ring, which has many seasons of all the fucked up stuff.
Yeah.
It's really good so far. The first episode is about Macho Man, and like, it's just about the darker parts of like wrestlers and stuff. But
it's like
I guess we have to keep talking about wrestling.
It's like a documentary series, or I heard the name, but I haven't.
Yeah. Viceland puts it out, which Vice can be pretty cheesy, but they also got some really cool shit too. Like, a lot of their documentaries are pretty good.
Their documentaries, they did a series of documentaries about skateboarding, and one was like Bam Margera, who I was like, ugh. But I watched it. I really felt for the guy. Like, it was like he was having like a midlife crisis and just.
So is it like now times, like how he is right now?
Yeah,
okay.
It's like
that might be worth watching.
It's really good. They had a series about like 5 of them. The last time I was on tour with Brian Ziola out Jacksonville, Florida, he had Vice on his TV, and we had some downtime, and I just plowed through like 6 of them in a day. But I'll have to check. Nice. I like any sort of documentary, true darkness thing like that, so I'll watch that.
Yeah. My girlfriend doesn't go down the true crime path with me, and she had a good reason for some of it. Like, she's like, well, think about all these serial killer shows. It's like they're all aimed towards killing women. I'm like, okay, I mean, I can see why you don't want to watch it.
Well, maybe if they didn't chop so much. Time to be.
Are you right about that? I did your am I right? Are you right? Oh man. So 3 cat. You don't have any dogs?
No, we had the, well, let's see. I've been rocking nothing but sleeveless shirts in my Mishka Shubaly Power Ring Activate. This is my old dog Taz.
Okay.
He was the best dog in the world, and so we had him. He lived to be 15,
Yeah.
and he passed about 4 or 5 years ago now. But with my schedule, man, it's just been, and these cats now trying, fighting each other and stuff. I love dogs, but they're way more responsibility, and you have to walk them, and you have to board them if you're gone, and all that sort of stuff. And
Right.
with my schedule, I just didn't feel right about getting another dog, so I've been real hesitant.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I became a cat person over the last year because we had a cat about a year ago come up to her door meowing out here in the middle of nowhere. So I'm guessing someone dropped her off.
Yeah.
And we had her for 10 months. She got sick and passed away. But I totally fell in love with her.
Mm-hmm.
Not like this, JT. Don't get weird. But no, I've never been a cat person. I've always been an animal person. Yeah. But I've never really owned a cat, so I guess I didn't get it. But then when I had her, she was just the sweetest fucking thing.
Oh yeah.
She died. It was crushing. I think 2 weeks later, maybe, or it was pretty soon afterwards, is at the job I was working at. I show up and there's just a cat hanging out in the parking lot, and other people who work there were talking to it. And right when I saw it and they told me what was going on, I was like, I think this is my new cat.
Yeah.
And so now I have this other cat. Both have been female cats. This one's name is Chud Thunder. We watched the movie Chud with the kids the other day.
I thought you were going to say wrestling inspired for sure there.
And she is definitely a wrestler. And
yeah. Nice.
But no, I'm actually a cat person now, and I get why people have cats. And I've been a dog person, and I probably will always be more of a dog person, I guess.
Sure. Yeah.
But does your cat just love the shit out of you, then all of a sudden bite the shit out of you?
It's wild because the new cat we just got also like a dog just showed up on our front porch, and she's a biter in that they do that thing where they kind of grip you, and she does like a soft bite, not a break of skin, right. But it's how they show affection. And this big boy who I just showed you, Wyatt, he's the alpha of everybody. He's the jerk of the family, but he's also the biggest lap cat in the world. And Doc, the other one, his brother who's running around, will legit he has his neurosis matches up with mine, and total dad cat in that if I'm gone, he's super attached to me, and if I'm gone on the road for a long time, he'll get forlorn and stop eating and shit. We had to
really?
Yeah, he's so attached. They're super attached to us because they'll be squirrely around strangers, but they're super attached to us. And so we had to get pheromone plugins, Glade plug-in things that emit pheromones to the air that kind of calm cats down and really remove anxiety from cats, and it's worked. But there were times where
you're trying to huff it.
Yeah, I'm on it right now. I do 3 cc's every morning, just cook it with a spoon and. But I was on tour I think for 2 weeks, which is usually the extent that I go out. And my wife messaged me. She's like, Doc's not eating and he's not leaving upstairs. I have to bring him down and force socialization and all this shit. And he was just full cat depression. And so, yeah, they're super attached. And it is different from dogs, obviously, in that, hey, lady.
Sounded like she farted when she walked in.
Yeah, she's cleaning out giant barrels. She's got the full baking bread craze, and so we have an 80-pound bag, 50-pound bag of flour.
Of flour. Yeah, Jill's 12-year-old is baking like crazy. She's like, I'm gonna bake a cake tonight. I'm gonna fucking eat it.
Dude, I'm 90% carbs. It's the best bread I've ever had in my life. And it's just 3 more loaves tomorrow. I'm I'm gonna fucking die. Dude, I'm sorry, 2 loaves. 50 pounds in 2 loaves, not 80 pounds in 3.
3 weeks, you're gonna look like Drew Carey.
Oh yeah, I wish. He's cut now.
Oh no, actually, no. Who am I thinking of? Not Drew Carey, the other fat guy, JT, Louis Anderson.
Old chicken hawk.
All this bread made me look like Louis.
I have a funny. The first time I did, not the first time, but I did punk rock bowling in Las Vegas, the festival out there, with Kyle Kinane, and Joe Stats was on tour with me, and the venue we took over was where the residency that Louis Anderson was doing in Vegas. And so his dressing room was our dressing room for the day.
Yeah.
and he had a big Jazzy to get him around backstage, like the motorized scooters, like you can rent at Walmart and stuff.
Oh, really? Okay.
He had one of those that said Mr. Louis Anderson on the back with like a star on it and shit.
I mean, I imagine he has diabetes. I don't know, but
he was a very nice guy. That's all I know. But
I was a betting man. I'm not saying he's not, but
yeah.
He
was the first comic I ever saw though live was Louis Anderson.
Oh, really?
I was like 12 or something like that. But here nor there, Joe Stats took his Jazzy for a ride around the backstage area, which apparently was frowned upon. Security were like, "Get off Mr. Anderson's Jazzy."
That's his Jazzy. I've never heard Jazzy. I've heard of Rascal.
Yeah, Rascal Scooter, a Jazzy. I forget what the other names are. I don't know. A Tub Year Round. I made that up.
In America.
Yeah.
Up on the America.
Cats and Louis Anderson are what we're focusing on.
I tricked you into a Louis Anderson podcast. Welcome aboard.
Yeah.
So we were talking about, you were saying that your wife's been making a lot of bread lately and shit, and kind of brings up another thing I was going to ask about this. So what's your diet like? How has that changed during this?
Honestly, a bit for the better, because when I'm on the road, I and it depends on geography. And now that I'm touring a lot with Eddie Pepitone, and he's vegan, so I've actually been eating better.
Is it really? Nice.
Yeah, he's sober and vegan, which, as someone who drinks and eats a lot of meat, that's been a nice. I mean, he doesn't give me a stern talking to or whatever. He's totally chill with me indulging. Yeah. But we've just, by the nature of that, been eating at better restaurants and stuff, and so I've been eating healthier on the road. And since I do the driving, and I've been drinking less because that's how that rolls. But at home now, I've been I don't do as much like fast food. I've been trying to consciously not eat as much of that shit anyway. But also like I'm a slave to Tex-Mex. I fucking love Tex-Mex in Texas. It's so good. Great. Yeah. And so I've been eating less of that. I still get it about once a week from takeout or whatever, but less than I would probably ordinarily eat. And also just not being in bars, my big foil has always been bread and Coca-Cola. Those have been my big, dietary nemesis.
And those type of things, like, you could think that you're like doing it in moderation, but how it builds up, you start gaining weight, and you're like, wait, so much sugar. That much, or
so much sugar and soda, and I'm aware of it, but also I don't drink coffee, I don't smoke cigarettes. Everybody's got a fucking vice, and my favorite drink in the world is bourbon and Coke. Like, that's just Lemmy, it's fucking the best. And so not being out at shows and not being at bars, not that I've been drinking necessarily less than I would be because I drink at home, but I've been able to taper it more as far as the go-to of just like, give me a Jim Beam and Coke. At home, I'll cut it. I'll do a vodka soda or something, or or whatever, or a splash of ginger ale and club soda to finish it off, as opposed to just. So yeah, a little bit better, I guess, but a lot of bread, a lot of bread.
So are you guys doing like home cooked meals most of the night, or most nights of the week?
I mean, it depends too on, man, it's hard to get fucking motivated in this. Yeah, you have all the time in the world, but also it's like, I don't want to deal with that. It feels like
I got jacking off to do. But dude, yeah, so my diet has definitely gotten better. So pretty much right when it was said that like it's time to stay in, don't go out.
Yeah.
It was this, at least for me, from when it was end of February, beginning of March, when it was like really kind of hard.
Yeah, the end of summer, as we call that. The day personal freedom died.
Yeah.
Set fire.
But so it was March 2nd. We kind of had like a mutual split with my job. I got screwed on some stuff, and I tried to work it out, and they weren't very mature about it. So that's it about that. So I haven't had a job in 2 months. Rules.
Good timing.
So at the same time, pretty much that same week, my fiance Jill, she got a super good job, and she gets to work remote.
Hell yeah.
And so I get to stay home, and I focus on doing stuff on the little farm we have, like fences. I mean, I'm doing hard ass work.
Yeah, dude.
And so, like the job I did, I was driving throughout most of the day. I would do, home inspections, but a lot of it was like putting signs on doors. It was real estate shit. So I'd be on the road all day, and when you're on the road, something like, I'm gonna stop at this gas station, get a slice of pizza. I'm gonna get some lunch at McDonald's.
Yep.
And like I haven't had fast food in 2 months, and I feel different.
Yeah.
And like since I'm not like sitting around driving all the time, I'm not eating fast food. I've got energy. Yeah. One thing that kind of sucks is like when Jill's ready to go to bed, most of the time I'm not.
Dude, this is exactly the dynamic that's going on in our house as well.
Yeah. That's why I got the Midnight Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess every time I say the name of the show, I'm gonna shake and do something dumb.
Yeah,
my diet's gotten way better. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I was gonna say I found myself riding my BMX bike every night now. You know, like around and stuff, and just like things that ordinarily would get pushed to the wayside. So yeah, there's definitely positives that are coming out of this. It's been awesome to see kind of nature get its way overdue forced breather from humanity. And
I didn't even think about that. That's very true. Like,
you know, it's
there's not as many cars out.
It's insane. I mean, just as far as ozone levels and how, you know, there's all these amazing videos. You want to go down a YouTube hole of animals like overtaking, you know, city streets and stuff like that now that are venturing out. And so there's a lot of positive that will come out of it. And I don't know, a degree of empathy also, just as far as people being a bit kinder to each other, it seems to be in their interactions. I mean, there's always shitheads. There's always, you know, I was joking about
the mask fellas.
Yeah, the day that Liberty died shit. I was obviously kidding, but you know,
they're out there killing those animals,
those assholes
in the street.
Yeah, there's always a degree, but by and large, you know, obviously wasn't around in the Black Plague and all that shit, or the Spanish flu and stuff, but I can't remember anything in my lifetime that was this unifying in terms of everybody's dealing with it.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, when I go out, like I go to the grocery store, like if I have to. Yeah. But I mean, I'm going to Aldi. Everybody's masked.
Aldi's
they have it set up pretty good. If I go to Walmart, I do it to go, but you got to do it a few days ahead. But like I did get a Walmart pickup, and I had to go inside, and just seeing everybody in their masks and everything that's going down, it was just so surreal. It's like we're actually in a movie. It's like, this is something we never thought would happen because, you know, we've been trained in America. It's like, this is America. We're flawless, basically, you know.
Yeah.
We know it's bullshit. But, like, it's.
Yeah, but also, I mean, absolutely about the American tip, but anywhere. I mean, like Canada or Sweden, who did very little as far as even locking down because they're whatever. The concept of this being so, and it's only been 7 weeks, which is a long fucking time. But also, you think about it, I always put it in terms of like, because I watch true crime, somebody would be like, you know, it was a vehicular homicide and he was given 3 years and people were outraged because he got 3 years, you know, like that's a crime against humanity that he got so little time. And now in this terms, I'm like, it's only been 7 weeks and it feels like fucking forever. 3 years in prison must be you know what I mean? Like, and so it's changed perspective on that. And also when I think about just kind of like what stuff was taken for granted in terms of real life, what was so commonplace, you know, and now it's it's forever perspective changing, you know, even getting gas or just like, I don't know, just so fucking
gas is so cheap right now.
It's such a great time to be touring.
Yeah, right. I filled up the car yesterday while I was out. I don't know what the fuck it's new anyways, but it was $1.17 a gallon. It took like $12 to fill up my car. Yeah. It was fucking crazy. Yeah. But anyway, so we talked about diet. Actually, I've been cooking a lot lately, like almost every night. And I'm like getting fucking into it. Like I'm like cooked a gourmet burger last night. Like it's fun, man. I'm really getting. I got Dave Stone's cookbooks and stuff. I'm using some of those recipes, and like I've always liked cooking, but like I don't know. I've really been focusing on that. And anyways, so what about habits? Like good habits, bad habits? Have you noticed anything new in that perspective?
Well, I mean, in terms of my schedule, I'm used to being home for a while and then gone for a while and then home for a while and gone for a while, you know? And so now where it's like the home for a while part, they're both usually good in their own way. You know, when I'm home for a while, I re-energize and I work on other stuff, and put comedy to the wayside, and then I look forward to the comedy coming up again, and then I go out into that mode and have a great time on the road and fulfill that part of me, you know? So now where it's just kind of terminal stasis in that I don't know when I have dates in June, but I don't know if they're going to happen or not. It's just kind of a permanent pause. It's fucked with me mentally, and just in terms of, I'm a guy that really, I have dates booked out through October right now, and festival is booking that and everything, the Altercation Comedy Festival, and so, but I can't pull the trigger on stuff, and so that's really difficult for me to grasp because I don't know if it's going to happen or not in terms of the dates that I want it to be, and because no one knows that shit right now,
If they would do it properly, this would go by a lot quicker. But
I agree. I absolutely agree, but you can't.
I honestly don't know how this is going to stop anytime soon. I don't know, unless we just literally just fucking stop everything. It's going to suck for some people. I mean, job-wise, just all sorts of factors. But like,
people are definitely going to get sick, but it may force some degree of herd immunity, maybe. The only positive, people being selfish, I could maybe see that, but it's not going to help sick and elderly people at all. That's going to it's going to speed their demise. Anyway,
there's so many people going about it the wrong way with I can't go to do this and blah blah blah, so I got a machine gun in the American
thing. But to answer your question, as far as schedule, like my sleep, I've always been a vampire and always been a night owl, but my sleep schedule's been real fucking zany. As far as I'll be tired and try to go to bed at like 11, which is real early for me. And then I'll just lie there and I can't turn my brain off, and I listen to podcasts or something, and next thing I know it's 3 or 4 in the morning, and then I fall asleep. Right. My cats will wake me up at 6 or something, and then I go back to sleep again until 11. It's just, and so, and it used to be when I was home, I do a lot of my creative writing and stuff like that, and now this toy stuff in the evenings more so, because my wife also goes to bed early. And I do that stuff at night, and now it's just like, I don't know, I do it during the day because I don't have other stuff to do sometimes. It's just, the schedule's all over the place.
Right.
But, the biking at night is a new habit, that's for sure.
Yeah. You get some exercise too.
Yeah, it's good to clear the head and just kind of cruise around the neighborhood.
I'm just trying my best to stay busy. One thing, I mean, like during the day, I usually try to get a bunch of work done, like outside of the farm, around the house and shit like that. I'm trying to balance out that with my creative side. Yeah. It's like, as being a comedian, and you're just stuck, you want to keep being creative. That's why we do podcasts. That's why we're doing what we're doing right now. And it's kind of a downfall too, because my mind always has it in there somewhere. Like I can be doing something else, and there's still a little piece of my brain that's thinking about what to do next on this project. Mm-hmm. And it kind of sucks. It's good and it sucks at the same time. I like to be creative and I like to focus on it, but I don't like that I'm thinking about it so much, But I mean, it's not affecting my relationship or anything like that. But like anything else, repetition gets annoying, and it's like, okay, just shut the fuck up. Let's put your phone down. Let's watch a movie with Jill and the kids. And
yeah, as far as comedy and stuff, it hasn't entered my brain. I don't want to be funny right now. And, comedy for me comes from experiences, and most of my stuff I get from road stuff. It's how you go out and you have when you're at home every day, there's not much to write about in terms of, that stuff and stuff that other people are going to relate to. As far as relationships, I've been smelling my iced tea to make sure my wife hasn't been poisoning me with cyanide. Because also she's used to me being gone for periods of time. We're both super independent people. And so it can definitely be, stressful and a strain.
So what you're really trying to say is your jokes from now on is my wife, am I right?
That's
she
right.
does this and I don't like it. The new JT.
50-pound bag of bread flour.
Altercation wife fest.
That sounds like an Arkansas thing. I'll let you have that.
Yeah. Oh shit, right? Oh yeah, if you listeners don't know this or watchers. Yeah, I live in Arkansas. That's why I guess I'm into pigs and goats. So I'm fitting in real well here, aren't I?
Yeah, the big sip. The big sipper.
Yeah, the big sipper. Woo!
It's coming back right now before our eyes.
So I guess some of my bad habits, I'm wanting to drink more. I mean, I'm not getting hammered every night or anything, but as a past alcoholic, it's still in me. And but about 2 nights a week, I'm having drinks out here in the Midnight Barn. But it's good. I come out here and it's kind of getting out to me. I got a TV out here to watch movies. I got my drum set and guitars. I FaceTime with friends now, do what we're doing here, and like it's kind of refreshing after you do that.
Dude,
Like I
that's
had a
awesome.
conversation with a friend the other day, like one of my best friends I've had since like high school, and it was so awesome because he accidentally FaceTimed me. He was meaning just to call him. He's like, "Wait, I don't want to do this," and he said, "What did he say?" He said like, "Oh, is this gonna be gay?" It's like, I mean, no. Are you gay?
Where
I'm
you
like,
was stick out?
yeah, like it's just gonna be us.
Chaps.
Yeah. I don't care if you're gay, man. It's cool. I know you got a wife and kids.
The concept of just changing up location also is a big psychological thing, man. The fact that you can go to the barn in your backyard that's a different place from the house that you're in all day, or the field that you're working in, or whatever.
Yeah.
And we're lucky here in that our house is probably too big for just two people, but it's been working out great in that we have separation of, she has her yoga during the morning or in the evenings downstairs remotely and stuff, and I can go upstairs and fuck off and not be in her space. And
Right.
the concept of just that's also, I mean, psychologically, a lot of people are like, I'm gonna go get gas just to get out of the house and be in a different.
Yeah. I'm gonna go get gas.
Yeah, I mean, what a world, right?
Yeah. Man. Well, hey, man, do you mind if we take a quick break real quick?
No, absolutely. Yeah,
I just need to open up these doors and get some air. Sorry, viewers, for watching me sweat. But so yeah, I'll hit you up in about 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, let's do 10 because I got to bounce again in about 40 minutes from here. So let's
okay, cool.
Take a break and then come back. All right.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Had a wonderful break. I got some air and I'm not sweating as bad. I'm going to try to figure that out before the next episode, so I'm not just here wiping myself off with flannels laying around. Like death metal.
Members of the band Tad just walking by and it's a grunge deep pull. Anyway, yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, thanks for being on, by the way, man. I think this first episode's going great. And yeah, thank you, man. But one more question about the pandemic quarantine. So after this is all done and we're good to go, I guess, safely, what are you planning on doing? What are your plans like when it's like, okay, you're free, you can go do what you want? What do you have in mind?
I've been missing the road a lot, and a lot of the stuff that got postponed was fairly high profile. Eddie and I were supposed to co-headline Bird City Comedy Festival in Phoenix and the Memphis Comedy Festival in Memphis, and a bunch of club dates around Tennessee and stuff. And like I said, we still technically have dates in June, but I'm not super optimistic that those will hold. We'll wait and see. But June and August. We're supposed to do shows for the Helium Club brand for the first time ever.
Okay, cool.
Which is a hard brand to kind of break into, and so we're finally starting to build a relationship with them because they're fairly high profile. So I'm hoping that happens because it'd be a good proving ground, and I'd like to have that as a working relationship.
Yeah, for sure, man.
So, man, I mean, right now the positive is that since Eddie and I are eager to reschedule the shows and stuff, and since we were headlining, it's kind of, we're working with those festivals that they're kind of like waiting for us to give them the green light to a degree of dates that are available or when we feel comfortable saying yes again. So it's not necessarily like a situation where, well, that's just gone and we missed out on that opportunity. We're all fortunately those people are also aware and trusting the science of everything and want to do the right thing.
I think a lot of like people in the comedy world are going to be, well, in the world in general, hopefully are going to be more understanding,
Sure.
And they'll keep in touch. Like, yeah, you're still going to do something here. We obviously can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I honestly, when with the Altercation Festival, I decided to postpone it by a solid 6 weeks from when it would normally be. And that's something I messaged everyone who had applied so far. And I said, look, if you can't make it, now with the new dates, obviously I'll refund your money and stuff on the application fee because I don't feel right about that. And I had about, I think, a half a dozen people message me saying they couldn't make it. And all but one person said, I don't care about the money, keep it, put it towards the festival, whatever.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Totally unexpected. So yeah, I feel like the we're all in this together vibe, as corny as that can sound. And if anybody starts putting out Comedy Strong merch or some shit like that, I'll be the first one to slap them. But You know that's coming.
What would it be? Comedy? That wouldn't be a fist.
Strong. I don't know what it would be.
There needs to be something like in metal, you got the horns, but there needs to be something for comedy, like maybe a laughing mouth.
No, it's going to be a stage with the coronavirus thing and a big hook, like in the old the hook off
Get out of here.
Get out of here. Yeah, jokes.
Yeah.
Stupid.
You're looking forward to getting back on the road, huh?
But yeah, Eddie and I are both really missing touring, and it's because we've only been working together like 6 months, and Eddie had never really worked the road like I do it, like as far as one-nighters and out for 2 weeks at a time.
Right.
He would more be likely to fly into Chicago or New York or something and do a weekend at home, and so he's missing it, which is kind of fun to see. He's like, man, I miss the adventure of being somewhere different every day. And if this by realistically by September is more or less good to go, with everybody also trying to keep in mind that we could get a second wave over the winter or whatever, and being smart there. I think my fall is going to be real busy, which is good. That's what I hope. And like I said, we still have stuff on the books for October and stuff right now. And there were other festivals we were talking to and had tentative kind of verbal agreements with, but I don't even know if they're going to happen now or not. So it's a big question mark. But one thing I learned about myself from this is how much touring as a comic has become part of who I am, and just how much it really plays into the equal whole roundedness of what makes my brain work. You know what I mean? Like, I've been really feeling that part not being there. I feel fucked up. It feels off kilter.
Right.
So, because there were certainly times in the past where I'd be like, I could take a break from comedy for a year easily, or just write another book and take time off and shift gears. Which this is a forcing of that. So in some respects, it's really good. Ready to record my audiobook for Audible, my last Killing for a Living. So it's definitely, I guess, forcing me to do things that would be put to the side because touring takes precedence. But, also in the sides of that, man, I miss nightlife. I'm looking forward just to being able to go see shows at a bar again, and, just able to see live music and go see somebody like Chad Daniels, if he comes to town at a comedy club, enjoy comedy as opposed to being the show, So, the same thing everybody's looking forward to, really.
I think this break will cause a lot of comedians that were kind of losing that spark to get the spark back. Because every time I take a break, like when the break's over, you're like, okay, I got to get back in the ring, Like, I absolutely it's good to take a break, but man, fuck, when it hits you, you're ready to go,
But on the flip side of that too, I think a lot of people that were on the fence and may have fallen out of vogue with it may say, oh, well, fucking, I didn't miss it that much. Maybe I'm going to do something else, because it's not the easiest thing in the world to do,
Right.
There's certainly other vocations that are maybe not as gratifying, but are way less hustle and work and constant, climb.
You definitely got to work hard and stay at it for this shit.
Yeah,
That's why I gave up.
You better not. You're funny as fuck, and you got to come.
No, I'm still doing comedy, just not as much. Like, I decided not to go the career route, basically because of family life, and
that can be freeing though, man. If that's there's a thing where if you realize that, and you can just, in some senses, if it takes the business end out of the comedy part, sometimes you enjoy the stage time more. I think.
That's exactly what it's done too. And because half the time I go on stage, I kind of just wing it and I improv it, which isn't always the greatest thing to do for stand-up comedy. But also, I'm like, I just don't give a shit. I just want to go out there and have fun and have a good time. I'll have some stuff on my mind. I think I'll talk about this, but I don't know what I'm going to say. And most of the time it works out. Like one out of 10 times, it's a fucking total stink fest. I would say. But that's what comedy is. Anyway.
Comedy anyway.
Yeah, right.
And
also, did I really just say 90% of the time I kill? You see, most of the time, JT, I'm out there dominating comedy. And
I mean, there's something to be said though for the business, decreasing the business end of it, where it's like, oh, if you get money at the end of the night, oh, rad, cool, that was fun, and I made some, $50 or whatever, as opposed to I need the show to go well as far as a certain amount of attendance because this is how I pay my bills, like that.
Right.
It's just a different, neither's wrong, but there's certainly been times in my life where I've been like, I wish I didn't rely on comedy as an income, But that's you fucking then don't do it. I say shut up.
Right,
And,
right. It
be careful what you wish for. And if you get lucky, I feel very lucky to be at the point where this is my main gig, and so I'm never going to complain about it being difficult. A grind.
My thing is, man, like I enjoy going on the road, but it's usually around 5 days in. I'm like so ready to go home and just chill out for like a few days. It's like I like going on the road, but I just don't have that I want to be on the road all the time thing, I guess.
I do. I've always had the gypsy vibe, the different place every day thing. I don't know what that is, but it's part of me. And I found that the sweet spot for me is 11 or 12 days out. Because if I do just like 5 days, unless it's a fly-in weekend or something, like we're supposed to go do Brooklyn and Philly and stuff in July for like a fly-out weekend. 5 days for me is I don't fully immerse in the tour mode of my headspace.
Right.
And it's also it's not that those early shows aren't good or anything, because I try and do good every night with the material and do my job. But like I feel like after 3 or 4 days, you start getting into that show every night.
Right. And if you're doing mainly the same set, like the nights before were like almost like practice for the next show.
To a degree, yeah.
Yeah, right.
You could argue that, yeah. And you're just sharper. And so by, 9 or 10 days in, it really feels like a good, solid camp workout. And then by day 11, 12, somewhere around there, I'm like, I'm done. I'm ready to fucking stop doing this and go break,
Right.
So, but yeah, touring's hard. The adventure of it is great, especially when you're younger. But we're in 30s, 40s, man. It's the physicality gets difficult.
Oh yeah. If I would have started comedy 10 years earlier, I started at 28. If I would have started, well, not maybe not 10, at 20. If I would have started, I probably would have focused more on getting on the road more. And but you said, the older I get, the more I'll be 38 this month, and like I just don't feel like doing shit. Ever.
Yeah, dude, it's a real.
I mean, I stay busy here, but I just want to stay home. I don't want to fucking talk to people except for maybe one night a week.
I totally understand. I didn't start till I was 32, and it was like I think now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was 32 when I started, and we would do 5 weeks of shows with one night off to literally fly from New York to Portland, Oregon. Like that was our night off, was to fly overnight across the country. And it was like, I think about that now. And I'm like, there's no fucking way I could even do a quarter of the grind that, I started doing way back then. You'd lose your mind. And the physicality of that, even when it's now, we largely have hotels and stuff where you have a bed and you're not, trying to find a couch each night or whatever.
Right.
It's hard, man. You need downtime. You need sleep. You can't just fucking.
Yeah, these days, if I'm traveling, I have to have a hotel. Like, I can't do sleep unless no one's at the house and I'm sleeping like that. Like, I have to have that hotel room. It's like, okay, I can get my underwear.
Yeah.
I can masturbate and eat pizza and do whatever the hell I want. I've never masturbated, but.
Yeah, the concept of, hey, can we crash? But you have to leave your house. We just need your house. It's very
funny. I guess that's what Airbnb is.
Rude.
But well, man, so for the last part of this show, I'm asking guests to share a story that they have that kind of just like sticks out to them. Like I said, this whole thing's been making me reminisce a lot, and I've been thinking about stuff in the past. And it could be like a happy story, crazy, sad, like any story at all you want to share that just like sticks out in your head.
Well, the most recent one I would say is, this most Pepitone and I did California in February, and Eddie lives out in LA, and I had done LA before, but I had never really immersed it. I had always been there for one day and then gone, and I flew in a day early just to be able to have time to hang out and kind of go see some stuff, because Eddie's fucking royalty there, so it was like anywhere we went, it was an instant thumbs up. And a lot of people actually I knew there, which was kind of cool. So comics that I knew from online and people I'd worked with festivals and stuff before. But, the last time I was on stage, that run was super fun. And we did San Francisco and Santa Cruz and all sorts of spots. It was just like a 6-day run. But I got to go to the Comedy Store for the first time that week and saw so many fucking Joey Diaz and Rogan and all these people just
It's crazy how pretty much every night you can look at the lineup and be like, what? Fuck? What?
bananas. And then it's, and it's just, I find myself in the hallway. I did the belly room. Eddie got me a spot on that night. And so I was happy to finally do that because I'd done the Hollywood Improv and stuff out there, but I'd never done the Comedy Store. And that's kind of like hollowed ground.
That's the place, man. Yeah.
And so, we're walking by and fucking Martin Lawrence is in one room doing a secret set. And, I'm just in the hall.
Whispering to the crowd.
Damn, Gina.
Secret.
And suddenly I'm in the hallway talking to the Sklar brothers about both being in Toxic Avenger 4 and shit like that. Just really random stuff.
Have you worked with them before, or did you just meet them that night?
I've done festivals with them in the past, but I didn't know them personally very much. Right. They were very nice, the few interactions we had. But they were
super nice.
They played the newscasters in Citizen Toxie, which I was in a million years ago, and I didn't realize.
I have to get a copy of that again.
It's funny, man. It holds up as far as trauma films, I think.
Yeah.
But here nor there, when I was hanging out there, I was supposed to go home Tuesday, and I ended up having to fly home Monday because my cat needed surgery. Mm-hmm. And so Sunday night, I didn't have a show. And when I was at the Comedy Store, this dude ran into me, this producer, and he said, we have a benefit show thing on Sunday with Rhea Butcher and Kyle Kinane. And I was like, oh, shit, because Kyle and I were playing phone tag trying to meet up for lunch or something anyway. Right. Schedules weren't connecting. They said, we had a spot. Do you want the spot? And I said, fuck yeah, I want the spot. Yeah, that'll be great. So now I have a show to end on Sunday, back at the Comedy Store. It's a main room, too, which is, the fucking ground zero, 500 people room.
Oh, was there that many people? Damn.
Well, it was also, that's what it holds. And every night it's pretty much sold out. But I'm also like, it's a Sunday. Who knows? It's a benefit, whatever. But I was just happy for the 15-minute slot. I was like, yeah, I'll absolutely take that. Thank you. And then,
I mean, if it's at the Comedy Store, you can do 1 minute. And be like, yeah, I'll do a minute.
Yeah, dude, for real.
It's one of those places that a comic wants to do no matter what.
Right. And so, Eddie and I get back from the San Francisco on Sunday, and he drops me straight there. And I said, how are pre-sales and stuff? They said, well, we have like 300 pre-sales. I was like, oh shit, sweet. Nice. So it was pretty much, if not sold out, definitely several hundred people. Right, and I get to the back to the list of, what's what. And they had me closing the fucking thing out. I was like, okay. Sometimes going last is just going last, which I understand also. But I was like, that's fucking cool. And so I got to hang with Kyle and meet Rhea Butcher and kind of chat and hang. And a lot of friends from LA were around, just comics from the other parts of the country that happened to be there. Kristen Becker was in town, and a lot of homies like that just hanging out. And so I got to close out the main room of the Comedy Store to a couple hundred people, and it went great. And
you didn't close it out; you headlined, JT.
Well, whatever. I closed it out.
And then Kyle Kinane, he thanked you for letting him open for you.
Yeah, I let him open. I let him do some.
You make him pay. Thank you.
But it went good, and that was the last stand-ups that I did before all this. So I keep thinking back to that. I was like, well, if this is it, that's a good way to go out. That's a good milestone to close.
So that was your last stand-up show you did?
Yes, that was the last show I did.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So that was real cool. And then the rest of the night, because I was leaving the next day, we just hung out and got drunk. It was just all the comics, Brad Erickson and like I said, Kristen Becker and fucking Kyle and I are out there, some weird swinger couple buying us mountains of shots because it's their birthday. It's just fucking weird and great, and just a really good, fun, awesome night.
Yeah.
So that has been giving me, anytime I get reeled down on like the concept of, I don't know, is comedy ever going to come back? Or I was supposed to record my new special 2 weeks ago, and I kind of had some really good industry hype going into 2020, and now it's just a brick wall of stop. So I get kind of fucking bummed out sometimes, as far as like having done so much work and then once things started to kind of snowball a little bit, have it be a sudden out of nowhere breaks.
Yeah, right.
I think back about that Comedy Store night quite a lot, as far as that's a pretty fucking good place to stop if I have to stop, So
yeah,
and hopefully it's not gonna stop. I mean, even if this shit, God forbid, lasts a year from now, as far as the fall back and forth and stuff canceled, it'll get there eventually. You know, a year sounds like an eternity, and I hope it doesn't come back to more than fucking, you know, I'm hoping by June we'll have some sort of life, because 4 weeks from now sounds like a long time too. But
yeah, man, it does.
That was just a really good capping experience for comedy, and one I go back to.
Yeah, man. Well, that's cool. It's a positive story too. Like, yeah, I just want to hear everybody's, anything they want to share. And man, yeah, thanks a lot for being on. And before we get off here, I want to say this. I'm sorry about all the goddamn sweat to you and the viewers. It must be annoying watching me.
It's stopping, so it's all right. It's more of
and I'm like shooing flies. Like, this is definitely a fucking barn. But
yeah,
before we get out of here, promote whatever you want, man. What do you have? What do you want to?
Well, I just wrapped up Shining Week today for the custom toys I've been doing. And the toy thing, man, I just fell into that. That was just like a thing I started fucking with for fun in my downtime, and it kind of took on a life of its own as a legit side business now. So I just did a week of Shining toys, and that wrapped up today.
Tell the viewers what all you do with this, with the toys and whatnot.
It's basically custom action figures, you know. So I do 4-inch is the primary ones, like G.I. Joe size, you know. Right. But I've also been fucking around with like the 8-inch, like they used to be called the NECA or Mega figures from the 70s. Mm-hmm. And I did, like today, I closed Shining Week with a Jack Nicholson from The Shining, and it's a giant inch fucking monster with an axe. And so I've been fucking around with the formats a lot. But it's basically, you know, I want to make perfectly clear that I'm not, you know, pouring molds of casting clay and making these things from scratch. And, you know, right. Eddie always says, you need to get some Asian children on this shit and work out your production better. But they're all one of a kind. My motto is one and done. So it's one, you know.
So how do you get the figures? Are they old figures that like are used and you just alter them, or?
Yeah, I had some sources in Austin that I found where I, you know, secondhand shops and kind of thrift stores and stuff, where I'd circle back every few weeks and see what I could find. And most of the time, honestly, I'd be like, oh, that head looks like Mark Maron or whatever, so I'll just grab that and then make a Mark Maron character, as opposed to, I need to find Mark Maron parts, and then I go, you know what I mean? It's usually
I need his abs.
Right. It's usually I'll see a figure that looks like something from pop culture or comedy or art, and I'll be like, oh, I can turn that into that, and that's where I get the inspiration. And so it's really, and eBay has been crucial in this. And I just kind of search for weird fucking dark web, you know, parts and stuff, and I kind of sign these things together into stuff, and then I do all the layouts. It's helped a lot with my Photoshop skills, you know, it kind of forced me to become proficient in that shit because I do all the layouts. So, and I got a process down as far as making all the art and the backing boards and everything. So
yeah, I love how it comes with the board and case. Like you go to the store and you buy an action figure. It's great for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's got the little, they call it the Mexican hat on the top of the punch hole, you know, like the action figures would have on top. Like this, there's got one here. This is what I made for fucking Neil Gaiman's kid, which was so weird.
I saw that he was talking to you about it or whatever. The Shaun of the Dead one. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's got like a 5-year-old who was like really upset there were no Shaun of the Dead action figures, and someone tagged me in it on Twitter and said, "Hey, JT could probably figure this out." And so I just made this toy, and Neil Gaiman has suddenly flipped out about it, and I have like all these new followers. It's cool.
Yeah, you sold one or two to Patton Oswalt, didn't you? Or sent him some?
I sent one to Patton, and then and another. Yeah, I made Deathbed, the bed that eats people, and I made that intending just as a funny aside or a gift, because I'm not really about taking people's material and then me profiting off of it in a weird, gross way. But Derek Sheen, who's a great comic who works with Patton a lot.
Derek Sheen's awesome.
He's so funny. His new special's out on Stand Up Records. Go get it. It just came out.
Cool.
But Derek is a feature for Patton a lot, and Patton and I had met, but Derek had messaged me and said, I sent that Deathbed photo to Patton, and he's flipping out over it. And I said, well, tell him if he wants it, I'll just send it to him. And so Patton and I started emailing back and forth, and I included a coronavirus toy, which was just a tissue.
Yeah, I think I saw those.
under a sneeze guard thing. And he messaged me and said, that's fucking hysterical. And so he retweeted that. And so, yeah, you know, I made, I'm buds with Posehn, so I made him from The Mandalorian as his character that he was in that. So, yeah, it's, you know, it's fun just kind of making these for comedy friends and stuff. But something like, the guy who created Sandman. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. That's good for business right there, man.
But it was also just good because like I knew that I made it just to make the kid happy. I didn't want any sort of gross. I wasn't like, no, for real though. I don't like children, but I was like, this will take an hour of my time to do.
Right.
And like I knew if I was a kid, I'd fucking freak out about that.
Oh yeah.
So it was just kind of good mojo.
Right.
So it was nice. But this is
looking forward to seeing my Jaws one.
Oh, dude, I have it's here. I'm working on another Jaws also.
That's cool.
Crazy, an oversized Jaws. But this is one I made that no one's seen yet. What day is this going to hit? Do you know what day this?
Not sure yet, honestly. Okay. It'll be sometime within a week, though.
Okay, well, what I'll do is I'll hold this one until this hits. And so anybody watching this will be in the store. I'm not going to advertise it. I'm just going to put it in the store. So you have to watch this and know that it's in there for sale. So anybody watching, it's in the store now.
I'll try to get it up quick then.
No, it's fine. Anytime this week. So this is Sally Summoned Demons. It's just like a little creepy ass girl that I found praying.
Raise it up just a little bit more.
All right. Let's see.
Oh, okay. What's the red stuff? I can't tell.
Okay, those are demons. They're kind of.
Oh, okay. I see it now. It's
fly around.
Figures.
So it's all demons with swords and stuff, and a little praying girl.
That is rad. I love it.
And the top says, "Oh fuck my face forever." It appears Sally Summoned Demons.
That is fucking fantastic, dude.
And
I love it, dude. That is awesome.
I did like a 70s black and white thing on the backs. A lot of times you guys just showing the front for sale that people don't see the backs, but they have like, right. I wanted like a vibe from like the old Conan comics and stuff where they'd have like, or like Creepshow where you'd be like mail order sea monkeys or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the back of them are all signed and numbered and they have like old designs and this kind of retro black and white screaming kid.
I love the Meth Yeti, man.
Meth Yeti is so iconic. That's the one that launched it. Because I made, how this kind of came to be real quick, because I don't want to hold you hostage. But, there's some other comics were doing action figures, and I'd asked one of them to make a gift for me, and they kind of blew me off. And so I ended up just saying, fuck it, I'm a DIY guy. I'll try and make one as a gift. And so I did that for my buddy, and then I ended up making two more, one from Mishka. Made a zombie Mishka for his birthday and one for my neighbor. And that was pretty much it. That was it. And then I made Meth Yeti because I came across the Yeti and I was like, he looks jacked up. He just looked fucking hyper aware.
Right.
and Meth Yeti just popped in my head. I'm like, that's funny to me. And so I put the bag of meth with him and did the art where he's like shivering. And it was, that was the first one I put up for sale for like $40, and a tattoo shop bought it immediately.
That's awesome.
And the guy messaged me and said, "That's what I call my ex-wife now forever, the Meth Yeti."
The Meth Yeti.
But Meth Yeti is the one that's actually on the back here. Yeah, Meth Yeti. Yeti and Friday the 13th, the series, which is the one I made for my buddy as a gift. These are the first two real ones. Yeah. And so that I was like, oh, there's so much for people still ask me about the Meth Yeti to this day. I will say, I am working on a Sasquatch akin toy to Meth Yeti because it's so popular. But you got to wait and see what I got in the works there. It's going to be a huge figure, but it's
Crank Squatch.
Yeah, I've got a very funny idea that's
nice.
Coming down the pike. But man,
hey, if you ever make some Night of the Demons action figures, you hit me up, dude. That's my favorite 80s horror movie.
See, yeah, people, keep suggesting stuff like that. That's good to know because I could.
And that Masters of the Universe, man, it keeps getting voted down on your polls. I'm like, no, fucking, we need Masters of the Universe.
Well, the funny thing about those theme polls is that I'm gonna do them all eventually, So it's like I've already got the parts for so many Masters of the Universe ideas, and I did a few. I did Henry Rollins Triclops, which came out pretty funny, and Merman on Edibles.
Yes, I remember that. Nice. That is awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Well, anything else you want to promote before you get out of here?
No, man, just go to jtcomedy.com. That has everything pretty much. And with any luck, Eddie and I will be back on the road, over the late summer, I hope, And
what are the new Altercation Festival dates again?
Those are the last week in October. For better or for worse, now we end on Halloween, so that's pretty great. So it's October 28th through the 31st, Wednesday through Saturday. And I'll be dropping the lineup for that in June. I extended applications also, if comics are watching this, applications, I extended them through the end of May. So if you go to altercationcomedyfest.com, it's got all the info on there, and 70% of the lineup is coming from applications. So
it's, thanks for letting me headline every single show.
Yeah, no, I appreciate your work ethic.
I totally get it. No, but anyways, JT, man, thanks a bunch for being on. This has been a lot of fun,
man. Appreciate you. And, hope to see you in real life in the fall.
Yeah, that'd be good, man.
All right, dude.
Alrighty, man. I'll see you later. Let me go.
Bye-bye.
Get the last of the sweat off. Later, man.